Today I want to discuss a trace mineral that's not very rarely discussed in videos and articles. It's almost completely overlooked, but it is an essential mineral. And the interesting thing about this particular mineral is that it can either be very good or very bad depending on certain circumstances. Now, the mineral that I'm talking about is copper. Copper, like I said, it's an essential trace mineral. Trace mineral means that it's only needed in small amounts. In the case of copper, the daily requirement is actually listed as only 900 micrograms for men over 19, but usually most suggestions indicate men should take in about 2 milligrams. And the important thing about copper, I'll get into more detail about this later in the video, is it has to have a ratio with other minerals, especially zinc. The problem with minerals is sometimes they compete with each other, where if you take too much of one mineral, it causes the excretion of another. This is particularly true in the case of copper and zinc. If you take in too much zinc, you could wind up kicking copper out of your body, and if you don't replace that by consuming copper foods or copper-containing foods, you can actually wind up with a deficiency in copper, which is crazy because it's found in a lot of protein foods. I'll mention the foods later, but one of the best sources of dietary copper is liver. It's just loaded with copper. Now, what does copper do? Like other minerals, particularly trace minerals, it functions as a enzyme stimulator. The enzymes that are stimulated by copper are known as cuproenzymes, and they're involved in energy production. They're involved in the metabolism of iron. You can't properly use iron without copper. So there's a relationship between copper and iron. Now, this is also needed. Copper is needed for the neuropeptide activation, connective tissue synthesis. For example, if you have a deficiency of copper, the aorta, the large artery leading, away from the heart, actually can break down and cause a serious cardiac emergency because copper is needed for the production of collagen, which is a main structural protein in connective tissue and in the skin. Of course, if you're not producing enough collagen, you can get stuff like wrinkles and lines, premature aging, as well as joint and tendon problems. So you have to have copper for proper connective tissue synthesis. And also, it's needed for copper is needed to synthesize several neurotransmitters, which are substances or chemicals that transmit neural messages, signals in the brain. Now, copper is carried in the blood attached to a protein called ceruloplasmin. And this also plays a role in iron metabolism. And this particular protein, ceruloplasmin, carries more than 95% of the copper in the human blood plasma. Now, a key point to remember about this is that as long as copper is attached to ceruloplasmin, it's basically stable. It's not going to cause any problems. However, when copper disassociates with its protein carrier, ceruloplasmin, it becomes highly reactive with oxygen, and it can produce free radicals. And this is where the danger occurs with copper. And indeed, the same thing also occurs with iron, which also is very reactive when it's not attached to its protein carriers in the bloodstream. Free iron and free copper are actually dangerous. They've been implicated in causing cardiovascular disease and especially brain degeneration, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Now, the interesting thing about copper is having a good amount of copper in the brain seems to help prevent Alzheimer's. However, if you get too much copper, especially if it's not attached to its protein carrier, and then it causes oxidative damage, which is closely associated with the onset of Alzheimer's disease. Copper is also involved in angiogenesis, or the development of new blood vessels. It helps to regulate genes. It's needed for brain development, pigmentation. Copper is involved in production of melanin, which is the main coloring pigment in skin. It's also important for immune functioning. So one of the most important functions of copper is that it forms part of the one of the main endogenous antioxidant enzyme systems in the body called superoxide dismutase. I believe there's two versions of that. One of them contains copper, and this particular antioxidant enzyme, which is very protective, it has to have copper in order to function. Without copper, it doesn't function, and all kinds of problems can arise. The human diet, they figured out that the human diet provides about 1,400 micrograms or 1.4 milligrams a day. For men and women, take in about 1,100 micrograms. Copper is absorbed mainly in the small intestine, and 2/3 of the body's copper is located in the skeleton and muscle. And if it's in the muscle, it's doing something there. That's for you bodybuilders to take heed for. Only small amounts of copper are stored in the body, and the average adult has a total body content of 50 to 120 milligrams. Most of the copper that you take in is excreted in the bile, and small amounts excreted in urine. The total losses of copper average about 1 milligram a day. Copper status is not routinely assessed in most lab tests, and no biomarkers that accurately and reliably assess copper have been identified. So it's you could get it's sneaky. You could wind up getting a copper deficiency without eating copper. Now the thing, like I said, I mentioned that the recommended daily ounce for copper for men 19 and above is only 900 micrograms. That's less than a milligram. For women, it's the same thing, 900 micrograms. Now, where do you get copper in food? The richest dietary copper sources include shellfish, seeds and nuts, organ meat, especially liver, wheat bran cereals, whole grain products, and chocolate. Now, if you don't eat those foods, there's a good chance you're not getting enough copper. Now, there's a problem that arises. I'll get to that in a minute. The absorption of copper is strongly influenced by the amount of copper in the diet, meaning the less copper that you eat, the more your body absorbs when you do start to eat copper. In other words, your body can sense when it's low in copper and increases the absorption of the mineral. This is true for most minerals. Now, the best foods, again, liver, a pan-fried liver, 3 ounces, contains actually 12 milligrams of copper, and only 3 ounces of liver. So if you eat liver, or if you take desiccated liver tablets, forget it. You don't have to worry about, never have to think about copper. Oysters are a good source of copper. Baking chocolate is a good source of copper. Even potatoes have copper. Mushrooms have copper. Cashew nuts have copper. Tofu has copper. Salmon has copper. Spinach has a little bit lower amounts, but it still has it. Turkey, ground turkey has 3 ounces, is 128 micrograms, which is just about the daily requirement. So it's found in milk. It's found in a lot of foods. It's a little bit difficult to become deficient in copper, but there is a way. And copper also, I should tell you, is available in various supplement forms, including cupric oxide, cupric sulfide, copper amino acid chelates, and copper gluconate. Now, who is at risk for a copper deficiency? People with a disease called celiac disease. 15% of them show copper deficiencies, meaning less than 70 micrograms in the serum of men. If celiac disease is a genetic disease, there's a disease called Menkes disease, where you can absorb copper, but it doesn't get into the blood for some reason. For some reason, people with this genetic disease get like kinky hair, so they call it Menkes kinky hair syndrome. Now, this is the point I was going to make about this video, though, and this affected me. That's one of the reasons I was compelled to make this video. If you have to look at your supplements. I take a lot of supplements. Several of the supplements I take in contain zinc. Each one doesn't have a lot of zinc. One of them has 15 milligrams. The the multi-mineral I use, I believe, if I remember correctly, it has 15 or 20 milligrams of zinc. And then I take a vitamin mineral that has another 15 milligrams of zinc. Anyway, I added it all up from all of my supplement sources, and I realized I was taking in 70 milligrams a day of zinc. Now the daily requirement is 11 milligrams of zinc. Then I looked at these same supplements, and I looked at it and I realized they were copper free. A lot of supplements don't include copper and iron because of the fact that they could react with oxygen and cause problems. So they'll give you all the minerals, but they'll leave out copper and iron. Especially true for men. Men usually don't need to take iron supplements because the iron recirculates. But the problem is, if you're taking a lot of zinc like I do from the several supplements, and you're not eating a lot of those copper-containing foods, you could wind up with a subtle copper deficiency. So what I suggest is take a look at your supplements, look at the zinc content, and that includes protein powders and all kinds of supplements. See if it lists the zinc content and see if it has any copper. If it's only zinc and you're taking in, let's say, more than 60, 70 milligrams of zinc, and you're not eating the foods I mentioned that contain copper, it might be a good idea to add a copper supplement, which is exactly what I did. I started taking it's called copper glycinate. It's not very expensive. It's a 3 milligram tablet. I take 1 to 2 a day. I don't take it every day, but I'm only taking it to balance out the relatively high amount of zinc I consume. Now, I mentioned this about some of the diseases. So I think that's about it really for copper. But the main point that I wanted to make in this video was that, again, if you're taking in a lot of zinc and you're not eating foods like liver and nuts and all those foods, you could actually be in danger of a copper deficiency. Not so much because you're not eating the copper in foods, but mainly because the zinc, if you're taking in a lot of zinc from supplements and other sources and not ingesting copper, you're going to wind up kicking the copper that you do have out of your body, and you could wind up with a deficiency, strangely enough. So that's the point of this video. Copper is an essential mineral. Don't go crazy on it. It's a trace mineral. Even if you take a supplement, you probably don't want to take more than at the maximum, maybe 3 to 6 milligrams a day is plenty. That'll cover it. Take it away from other minerals. Some minerals interfere with copper absorption, like calcium. Certain supplements like green tea tend to chelate copper and will pull it right out of the body. That's another problem. I also take a green tea supplement. There's several, what else? The resveratrol, grapeseed extract, all of these things will pull copper out of the body. So that's another reason to maybe keep a copper supplement on hand. So that's all I'll say about copper. For most people, there's nothing to worry about, because copper deficiencies are very rare because it's found in a large variety of foods. However, again, the problem could arise if for some reason you're taking different supplements that all contain zinc and don't contain copper. That could cause a problem. If you want more information about nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research, hormone therapy, effective fat loss techniques, supplement science, which ones work, which ones don't, ergogenic aids, hormone therapy, women's health and fitness, all of these are covered by Applied Metabolics. There is nothing on the internet to compare with Applied Metabolics, if I say so myself. I work very hard on this. It's not the usual stuff you see in videos and YouTube videos and blogs. It's kind of off the road stuff. It's kind of like you can look at it as advanced nutrition, but I do cover basic information that everybody should know about nutrition and exercise. It's one of the best resources you could ever find. Not expensive, doesn't cost more than a cup of latte from Starbucks, but you'll get a lot more benefit. The LA Times here in Los Angeles costs $3.66 for each issue, whereas the Applied Metabolics costs 33 cents from each month, and you'll get 33 cents a day, I should say, and you'll get a lot more benefit out of it. So subscribe today. It's at www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me your email and address, and I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and general health and medicine. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage for current subscribers only. You can send me short questions about anything they read in Applied Metabolics or anything that they're curious about related to nutrition and exercise, and I will be happy to answer the questions in appreciation of their subscription. If you think my videos are any good, again, no advertisements, just pure information, no 10% discounts, which, by the way, if you see anything that says 10% or 20% discount on certain supplements, those are shills. Those people making those videos are shills for supplement companies, and they're never going to give you the full truth. They're paid to push a company's supplements. They should be labeled as infomercials. Even though some of the information seems pretty good, they're shills. In other words, they're paid to push certain products. You don't see that in my videos. Mine are pure evidence-based information, 100% truth, no lies. That holds true for both my videos and my Applied Metabolics publication. So my videos are free. You could subscribe to it. I post a new video every Tuesday. Please let others know about this channel. And what else can I say? Keep away from green supplements. They're absolute crap. And also, I'll give you another tip, free tip, pertaining to supplements. 99.9% of the supplements you see advertised on Facebook are junk. They're grossly overpriced and they're garbage. Do not buy supplements advertised on Facebook. Most of them are pure garbage and they're grossly overpriced. There's a supplement, I won't mention the name. I saw it advertised today. It was $75 for 30 capsules. I bought the same supplement on Amazon for $7.75 for exactly the same supplement. That's why you shouldn't buy supplements from Facebook. They're grossly overpriced, and some of them are probably not even properly dosed. Don't buy supplements from Facebook. Do not. Whatever you want to do, if you want to go on Facebook and post stuff, fine. Don't waste your money buying supplements from Facebook, and by all means, avoid all so-called greens products. They're about as healthy as eating desert sand. They're useless, they're garbage, and they're also overpriced. So that's a free tip. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter and adopt a dog. Thank you for listening.